Hello, today I've got the Novation Bass Station 2. I've been after one of these for a while, but I didn't want to pay the full price. I never do, really. Anyway, cut to the point. Now, this came with this power supply, and this is the wrong power supply. This is 12 volts. The Novation Bass Station is 9 volts, or 5 volts through the USB port, because you can power it off the USB port as well. Now, this goes on with a lot of force. And I think what's happened is the plug, the socket rather, on the back has been forced several times with this incorrect plug being shoved into it, and it's possibly lifted it off the board slightly, cracked the solder joint or something, because this 9 volt one here, sorry, it's plugged in over there, this works, and the keyboard works. It all lights up and everything's great and it makes a noise. However, the slightest nudge of the power lead, or even just moving the keyboard a little bit, it switches off and fires back up again, back to patch number 1 or 0 on this, and that's getting a little bit annoying. So hopefully this is just going to be a solder joint job, or I've got plenty of these little spare sockets. Maybe I'll have to put another one of those on. So that gives me an excuse to open it and get in and have a look and see what's inside these things. So where's my screwdriver? Screwdriver time. So I'll just show you sort of what's happening here, the annoyance of what's happening. So there you go. Look, I've tried to go forward with the patch and it's reset and gone back to 0 again. Here we go again. You see, it's the slightest movement and it resets. Now I've put that bit of solder there to try and put some force on the plug that's going in. So that's just there as a weight pushing against the connector. If not, I have to pull to one side with the connector. So yeah, play along with the keys, fine. But once you start, there you go, look, it's resetting again. Ugh, damn annoying. So I think that's just that connector. If I move that out of the way, there you go, it's dead now. And I'm just using this to sort of apply a little bit of force against the plug going into the socket. So that just says to me, the keyboard's fine, the keyboard works, but it's just a power problem. Oh, we're staying on now. Good, okay. But as soon as you nudge it or move anything, it resets and goes off. I've had this problem with several things in the past, and normally it's just an easy fix. Soldering iron, a bit of solder, or, like I say, just change the plug over. Okay, let's open this up. I've actually moved forward and got myself an electric screwdriver here, which is a good job because this Novation has 18 screws that you have to undo to get into this thing. I'm not sure about these big headed screws here. I think they're just holding the keyboard in place. But yes, 18 screws, and I can feel it's sort of coming apart. So this is always the worst bit. I always expect to pull cables off. So I always sort of look down the ends there, and I think with any luck get that over the keys. Yeah, there we go. That was reasonably easy. Right, where's that power socket? That's down here. I'll zoom in and give you a better look. If I look in the bottom corner here, this is where the power socket is, and that's connected to these 3 pins. Now the top one looks a little bit crusty. It looks a bit, it's what you would call a dry joint, and this is no fault to Novation at all. This fault has been caused by plugging in the wrong power adapter. Fortunately the thing works, even though a 12 volt power adapter was put in, but it goes up to a 7805, which is a voltage regulator up here, so the whole thing works on 5 volts. Well, it has to, because it also works on USB, and that's 5 volts. But all I'm going to do here really is just resolder the pins for the socket there. Okay, now I'll just flip it back over and plug in the power supply and give it a wiggle and make sure it works. I know it's only a quick fix, but you know, might be handy in the future, could save you a lot of money. Soldering iron really only costs about 10 quid. You can get a half decent soldering iron for £10, and that could be cheaper than having somebody repair a keyboard or instrument for you. So let's plug in and try, shall we? It's alive. Brilliant. Give it a wiggle. Look at that. That was just a dry solder joint that was causing that problem. Okay. Now, believe it or not, earlier I couldn't do any of that. Every time I pressed 2 or 3 keys, the whole thing reset back to patch 0, which is a nice patch. But okay, let's have a look inside it then, because this is going to be such a short video and probably boring. But there you go, that's a quick fix, and it's not resetting at all now. Brilliant. So this is the inside of the Bass Station 2. I'm not going to strip it all apart, this was just a quick repair. This is your main board for all your sliders and switches, etc. Obviously, because that's the one with the sliders and the switches on. And this is kind of like the digital control for the analog synthesizer, because this here is the analog synthesizer, the main control board, and this is all the analog circuitry. I know it all sort of looks the same, but it doesn't quite work like that. And this just sort of tells this with digital potentiometers where all your settings are. And that's again why you can save so many different settings on an analog synth. In a way, it's kind of similar to the Moog Sub 37, where it has a board for all your controls, and then it has a separate board for your actual synthesizer. And then moving on, it's got a sort of same pitch and mod wheel design-ish as the Moog, which is clear plastic, and these two LEDs down here light up through there and make them nice and blue. Yeah, a couple of little boards. That's just got a few buttons on the other side of it, but yeah, that's it. That's everything. That's all you get. But I guess it's going to be a good sounding synthesizer, because I've seen the Sonic State review on this. There's a couple of videos that Nick's done, and it does sound rather nice. It's got an aftertouch keyboard as well. That's what this little strip is here. This is sort of a pressure resistant strip, so when you press the key down and then you put more force onto it, it's changing the resistance in this strip, and that's how you get your sort of aftertouch. Yeah, now I want to fire it up and have a good play with this, because like I say, I've only had brief encounters with it before the whole thing resets again. Well, there you have it, all lit up and it's all working, and I've just had a fiddle through all the switches and the sliders, and everything seems to be doing things and adjusting things and giving it a lot of wiggling around, and it's not resetting, which is nice. So, brilliant. I'm not going to do an in-depth sort of review on this or anything, because that's other people's jobs. I just do little repairs and take things apart. And it's all working now, and I can't wait to get using it in some of my music. I must tell you this little story though. on one of the last car boot sales that I went on, somebody had a Yamaha keyboard on there with the batteries in it, and I went up to it and I played this little riff. Okay, and the guy instantly said to me, "Oh man, I love Coldplay." I said, "What do you mean Coldplay?" He says, "Oh, it's Coldplay Talk." I said, "No, it isn't. It's Kraftwerk, Computer Love." And he went, "Oh, they clearly nicked that from Coldplay." Anyway, thanks for watching. If you like the video, please give us a thumbs up, and thank you very much. I'll find something else to take apart soon. All the best.